Hi and welcome back to another video, and in this one we're taking our kitchen, in this case, which was boring, and we're going to make it less boring. So we're starting off here by adding some dado rails to the walls, and then we'll paint it, and this is just that process really. I forgot to film it, but we did some.
I didn't.
Right there. With the dado rail done and on the wall, the next thing was to paint the whole thing, and we did that in pink, as you can see here. And with that being finished, we could turn our attention to the other side of the kitchen, which was this very boring sideboard. So we went through a few options of what we might be able to do with this. Started off with maybe just adding a plant or a shelf and maybe a bench or a different bench, and then eventually we settled on adding two cabinets either side and filling the whole gap with a big sideboard. So eventually we go from looking like this to something like this, except not this because that's a horrible color, so more like this. So before we could get into the build, we had to paint the wall first, and that's what we did here. And then we can get into the build itself. Right, okay, so while the painting is happening, I'm going to build the extension to the sideboard. So each side of the sideboard, there's going to be two additional cabinets that extend it out to be 2.8-ish meters wide. That's currently 1.8 meters wide. So I need to break down this material into a couple of cabinets. What we've got is the original sideboard, which is this blue mass here, and on either side I'm going to build two cabinets exactly the same, and they're going to match the style of the central cabinet exactly. And then there's going to be a new worktop that goes on top, and that is going to be what the new sideboard looks like. Okay, I think you saw the struggle I just had with half a sheet of plywood, and the only bit of material I've got left is a full sheet of plywood, out of which I need to cut two more strips. So I don't know how that's going to happen. There we go, here's the state of play. Big sheet of plywood, some wooden strips on the floor. Sheet's going to go down, and I'm going to cut off a strip, and then we'll finish it off on the table saw. Time to pocket screw. Okay, so we're gluing it up. I've got a 1-inch spacer block there to set it off from the ground, set the floor off the ground the distance it needs to be. Clamped a spacer block in there, so I'll stick some glue on the edge of this, and then we'll drive in the pocket screws, and then we'll repeat for all the other spacers. Now, unfortunately with the face frame, I didn't capture the process of actually putting it onto the box, but effectively it's mitered joints, which you can see when they come together, form, I guess, yeah, a face frame. And that's what they look like completed. and all I'm doing here is sanding them down to get them level with the main cabinet, because the floor itself isn't level. What we're doing now is fixing them together so they're one big cabinet. So I've put one screw in down here, and that's going to act like a pivot point. So you can see the face frame is going to be flush with this. Yeah, it is down here, and I've put one screw in to hold it in place as a pivot, and then I can just push that into place and drill my next hole and then drive my screw in. So I'm going to push that in so it's level. Drive in and screw in. So I'll put a screw in. Drive this in. So while Liv could then turn her attention back to painting the whole cabinet, I turned to putting the new top on. And this was a reclaimed kitchen worktop that we got, and it was very heavy, although I'm probably making it a little more difficult than it needs to be. And effectively what I'm doing is taking 3 separate slabs of this kitchen worktop, and I'm going to join them together to make one big long worktop that will cover the whole sideboard. And that's what this next process is. Right, okay, quick explanation of what's going on. So, here's my 3 segments. They're going to make up the worktop, and they currently fit to size, and I'm just about to sand, but I realized I needed to connect them together before I take them in and put them in place. Yeah, because I'll cause too much mess when I come to the sanding stage if I do it in there. So, here's the plan. I've currently got these corner clamps, but they're not long enough to reach around the whole thing, so I've screwed in some pieces of wood and use them to brace each of the 2 corners or ends. So that's holding these firmly in place. I've aligned the front edges so that they're flush. And with them aligned, I'm going to come in and I'm going to route a channel across the join. I'm going to sink in 2 channels for this C channel to go and slot into and be flush with this. And I'll screw this in to here. And then the C channel is what's going to join the 2 boards together across this seam. Then when I flip it over, I can route a small groove that I'm going to add in an inlaid piece of wood to hide the join, basically to cover the join so it's not as ugly, and then we'll be done. So that's what this is going to be. Looks a little bit elaborate, but we'll get there. I'm exhausted. What have I done? I finished. And now I've got to flip it. And I haven't done this yet. I don't know if it's going to work. It's not very thick metal. They didn't sell bigger ones. Let's find out. It's heavy. So far so good. Nice. Next step is to route the channel down here. In the interest of time, I did the first one off camera just to check this whole process would work. But what I've done is I've taped either side of the seam, and then I put the wooden batten that's going to sink in, and well, I'll talk through all this in the next one. But anyway, here's the first one coming off. The test was successful, so then yeah, I'll take you through on the second one. Right, let's go through how I'm going to inlay this strip of wood. So this is a strip of olive wood. You can see it's got some nice figuring, whatever you want to call it. And you can also see I've taped either side of the join. So what I'm going to do is put the strip of olive wood right on top of the line and keeping it pressed firmly in. I'm going to get my utility knife and scribe down the edge of it. So then I can unpick it like that. Right, so now I've got the line that describes where that fits. I can get my straight edge and line it up so that when I put the router on, I can line up the router bit exactly to the edge of the tape. Let me show you that. So I can get my router bit as long as it's straight on. I can line up the blade to the edge of the tape, and then I can push the straight edge up to that, and there you go. So that's set up that end, and then do the same thing here. Okay, once you're happy with that, you just set your router up against it, take a shallow pass, and just keep on making the pass deep enough until this will sit in nicely. Okay, so having routed the channel, I now need to mark with the utility knife on the piece of olive wood where the 45-degree cut needs to be made in order to allow the olive wood to sort of waterfall over the edge. So you cut out the 45 degree and then you can bend the wood over the end, and having scribed that line, that's what I'm doing here. So I'm lining it up with the 45 degree mark and then cutting out a triangle, which you'll see in a second, which the piece of wood can then bend around. So effectively you create a very thin point, and you line that up with the edge, bend that over the edge, and then that creates this sort of waterfall effect that the wood flows over. You'll see it at the end once it's all sanded. Okay, I have declamped it. It looks pretty good, but when you get right up close, there's some very small gaps between the wood spline and the board. So what I've done, I've collected all the sawdust and shavings that have come off of it. So I'm gonna pour some glue down the ridge, and I'm gonna sort of smear in a sawdust glue concoction, and that's gonna hopefully seal the edges. And then I can come back, sand over the top, and I'll probably do the sanding while it's a little bit tacky still to really let the sawdust penetrate and go in there. little bit there I've got to sort out, isn't there? Oh, come on. But otherwise it's pretty good. It's pretty flush. Disappointing. Disappointing. That one took bloody ages using 80 grit, so for this side I'm going to use 40 to get it close and then swap to 80 after that. Hell yeah. Oh, look at that. That is lovely, that. Ooh. Now, it does not do it justice, but that is shiny and lovely. But you can probably see that there's lots of excess on it. Let me get you an angle that shows you that well. So if I look down this way, you can see all of the streaks in the light. That's where the excess oil is sat. So I'm gonna get a clean rag and we're gonna wipe off all the excess.
It's heavy.
That is where it needs to go to. I don't know if it's gonna fit.
What do you mean? I thought you made it so
I
it...
did measure it to fit.
I told you it looked too big.
It's
Wait.
not too big. Look how close that is. Just needs to straighten up. Right, technical difficulties.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to put this down.
Maybe.
Wait, I'll get the thing. Unless it needs to go.
Look, pull back. So we're gonna pull back. No, where are you
Why
going?
didn't clear the galley, you goof? Honestly.
Are you in?
No.
How far off are we?
I don't know.
Give me in millimeters.
I don't know.
I didn't need to shave all that off. It would have fit for sure. I've only taken 3 mil off.
Oops.
Well, how did you not fit?
I told you I should have come this end.
What? There's a massive fucking gap now. I need to... Anyway, with the top on, the final thing to do is to make the doors for the 2 side cabinets, and that's what's happening here. I'm cutting the outside frames for those doors, and in a second you'll see I cut a channel for the floating shaker panel to sit within. So that's this process. Okay, done all of them. And then just to test that they fit, here's the 6mm board it's going to go on. Put the slot on. Nice pressure fit. Not too tight that you can't pull it off or take it on, but it will stay on. Perfect. You can see I've swapped it to the sled, and that's because I've cut all of the mortises, or channels or grooves, in all of the pieces, tops and sides. And now the tops need to have a tenon at the end that will slot into the groove or mortise on the side panels. And that's quite easy to do because all I have to do is do the inverse of what I've cut in it. So I just have to set the saw blade on this side to cut that depth, and then I'll cut away that material. And then on this side I have to set the saw blade to cut that depth, and again I'll cut that away and leave a tenon in the middle. Uh-oh. I broke my tripod. Okay, now I've built a fairly basic box. I didn't film it because it is literally as basic as a box gets. That's where the bin's going to sit. And you can see it's got the undermount drawer slides on it. It's not held together with any glue, it's just pocket screwed together. And the front door, which is here, is going to pocket screw onto the front of here. But first I need to take it in, put it on the drawer slides and measure the gap from certain reference points down to the face frame of the cabinet, and then I can measure where the door needs to be positioned to be in the right place. Now the doors have been made to be slightly oversized for the gap, so I can put this into place as accurately as possible, and then when I slide it in, I'll be able to scribe, hopefully, where I need to shave the door down to get it to be a perfect fit in the gap. You'll see what I mean in a second, but that's the plan here. Okay, so it's in place, and now I'm just gonna get my little ruler, this way around, and measure that gap, and then I'll take that over, and that is the distance that I need to set the door below this point. Okay, so hopefully you can see here, I've put the door face down on the workbench, and I've put the slide up against it, and then the bottom of the door I am offsetting to the bottom of that same point by 21 millimeters. So I'm going to clamp it down in this position, double check the measurement, and then screw it in, and then we're good to go. So here's the door, stuck it on with some screws like I said I would.
Is it gonna fit? Is it gonna fit? Oh wowza, look at that.
Hold on. Oh!
I had a click.
2 clicks.
Only a teeny bit needs shaving down.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have some chocolate now?
Yeah, there's some chocolate now. Troubleshooting, but in theory, once we shave this down,
It should click.
muy bueno.
Perfecto.
Perfecto. Okay, so I want to have an even gap out the side. That's probably 2 mil. So I'm going to come here and mark about 2 mil in. And I'll do the same on the bottom. And then I'll get a straight edge and I'll connect the two. And then I'll shave down the door to that line. Okay, back in place. Let's have a look. go then. Oh! Wow. That works way better than I thought. Look at that. That's bloody flush. Okay, that side in, you saw that earlier. This side is now also in. I split the edge, so there's some tape on it. And this side is in just using simple hinges, just like the original cabinet had. And you can see, just opens up, shuts nicely. So there we go, it is. Apart from the handles on these two drawers, it is physically complete. Oh, trim. Trim's going on. It is not physically complete, but it will be soon. Just onto the bottom of this one, I have added one of these little stop things so that it doesn't go any further in than it needs to. And now it is officially done, apart from the trim.
Definitely got some on the floor where I've not taped very well.
That's okay. Wonderful painting going on. We've added trim to the bottom and to the top just to make it a bit smarter. Took the trim around the corner, and then final thing to do. The cabinet that existed had trim on the inside of the doors, so we've bought matching trim, and then we've cut. We haven't done anything. I've cut some matching trim here, and then if we put it in place, it's a tight fit, but oh,
Perfection, I would say.
that is good
That
fit.
was like finding the right piece of puzzle.
There we go. One more to go at the bottom, which is this piece. And in theory, that one will also slide right in. Oh, and it did.
Smashed it.
Wow, I don't actually think I have to pin that one in place. They just fit like a glove. I'm not going to. Voila. Okay, I know this has been a massively long video, but hopefully you can see that there was tons of work that went into this, and there was hours of footage I cut. One of the final things we did was replace all the knobs. So these were the wooden ones. We replaced them with these, I don't even know how you describe them, puffy things. Anyway, there's new knobs on it. This is what it looks like done. We love it. We think it brings the space to life a little bit more than it was previously. Although Liv was furious that I took this shot while there was still loads of rubbish in the room. So I took another shot. Here you are. This is about 6 months later. We've had it in place for a while now, and it's still great. But anyway, I'm mumbling at this point, so thanks for watching. If you liked it and you're not subscribed, please do. It does help. And if you don't want to because you think I'm rubbish, that's completely fair and valid. So, I don't know. See you around.